A review on 5 supportive supplements and COVID-19. We are going to review 5 supportive supplements that could help with the management of COVID-19. There are many studies and articles published about those 5 supplements, and we cannot show all those studies in here, and we have chosen up to 5 studies for each supplement. Let's see what those 5 supportive supplements are. Number 1 is Bromelain. Bromelain is a proteolytic enzyme extracted from the stems of pineapples. Bromelain has anti-inflammatory, anti-thrombotic, fibrinolytic, and mucolytic activities. Bromelain enhances the absorption of antibiotics, and also in natural medicine, bromelain is used as digestive aid as well. In here, we are going to review 5 published studies about bromelain and COVID-19. This is the first article about bromelain and COVID-19. The title is Bromelain Inhibits SARS coronavirus 2 infection in viral E6 cells. The preprint of this article has been published on September 16, 2020. This is an amazing article. I'm going to scroll down to get to the most important part of the article I have highlighted for you. As you can see, it says here, bromelain inhibits cleaves the expression of ACE2 and TMPRSS2. Bromelain cleaves degrades SARS coronavirus 2 spike protein, and bromelain inhibits S-ectodomain binding and SARS coronavirus 2 infection. This is the second article. Bromelain inhibits SARS coronavirus 2 infection. We are targeting ACE2, TMPRSS2, and spike protein. This is the summarized version of the previous article, which has been published in Clinical and Translational Medicine on January 17, 2021. This is the third article, the combination of bromelain and curcumin as an immune-boosting nutraceutical in the prevention of severe COVID-19, which has been published on Science Direct in December 2020. And this is the abstract. I'm going to read this section for you. It says, notably, bromelain substantially increases the absorption of curcumin after oral administration. To the best of our knowledge, this is the first report highlighting the significance of bromelain and, most importantly, the potential preventative value of the synergistic effects of bromelain and curcumin against severe COVID-19. Article number 4 is bromelain, a potential therapeutic application in SARS coronavirus 2 infected patients. This article has been published in the Annals of Antivirals and Antiretrovirals. The article has been published on June 19, 2021. This is the abstract. I have highlighted this part for you. It says, the therapeutic effects of bromelain suggests that it may reduce mortality and morbidity rates in patients with COVID-19 infections through its antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, immunomodulator, and anticoagulant effects. And article number 5 is this. The title is The Combination of Bromelain and Acetylcysteine Synergistically Inactivates SARS coronavirus 2. This article has been published on PubMed on March 6, 2021, and I have highlighted this section for you. It says, recombinant spike and envelope SARS coronavirus 2 proteins were disrupted by combination of bromelain and acetylcysteine. Spike and envelope protein disulfides bond were reduced by acetylcysteine. Let's sum up those 5 articles. How does bromelain help with COVID-19? Number 1, it decreases inflammation of the lungs, cytokine storm, and the risk of ARDS. Number 2, it helps decrease coughs by lowering the blood levels of bradykinin. Number 3, it decreases the risk of blood clot formation. Number 4, it helps dissolve thick mucus. Number 5, Bromelain inhibits and cleaves the expression of two enzymes ACE2 and TMPRSS2. Number 6, it cleaves and degrades spike protein from SARS coronavirus 2. Number 7, it inhibits S-ectodomain binding and SARS coronavirus 2 infection. And finally, in combination with curcumin and in acetylcysteine, bromelain can inactivate SARS coronavirus 2. How much bromelain to take? Usually it is recommended 1,500 to 2,000 milligrams a day in divided doses. It is safe in higher doses up to 10 grams a day. In terms of natural sources, bromelain is found in pineapples. Number 2 is N-acetylcysteine. N-acetylcysteine is a derivative of the amino acid cysteine. It is a potent mucolytic agent. It helps the body produce glutathione. Glutathione is one of the most important antioxidants in the body, which is produced by the liver. NAC is used in the treatment of acetaminophen overdose or toxicity. In here, we are going to review 5 studies about N-acetylcysteine and COVID-19. This is the first article about N-acetylcysteine. It is the same article that I showed you about bromelain. The combination of bromelain and acetylcysteine synergistically inactivates SARS coronavirus 2. This article has been published on PubMed on March 6, 2021. And in the abstract, I have highlighted the section for you. It says recombinant spike and envelope SARS coronavirus 2 proteins were disrupted by combination of bromelain and acetylcysteine. Spike and envelope protein disulfide bonds were reduced by acetylcysteine. This is the second article published on the PubMed again. Rationale for the use of N-acetylcysteine in both prevention and adjuvant therapy of COVID-19. This article has been published on August 11, 2020. And in the abstract, I have highlighted this section for you. It says, the oral administration of NAC is likely to attenuate the risk of developing COVID-19 as it was previously demonstrated for influenza and influenza-like illnesses. Moreover, high-dose intravenous NAC may be expected to play an adjuvant role in the treatment of severe COVID-19 cases and in the control of its lethal complications, also including pulmonary and cardiovascular adverse events. This is the third article. In acetylcysteine to combat COVID-19, an evidence review. This article has been published on November the 2nd, 2020. And in the abstract, I have highlighted this section for you. It says, N-acetylcysteine has been used in clinical practice to treat critically ill septic patients and more recently for COVID-19 patients. NAC has antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and immune modulating characteristics that may prove beneficial in the treatment and prevention of SARS coronavirus 2. This is article number 4, published on the PubMed again. N-acetylcysteine, a potential therapeutic agent in COVID-19 infection. This article has been published on July 24, 2020. And I have highlighted this section for you. It says, consequently, we hypothesize that N-acetylcysteine, along with the conventional treatment, may be treated as a potential therapeutic solution in cases of COVID-19 patients. And article number 5 is this. The role of glutathione in protecting against the severe inflammatory response triggered by COVID-19. This article has been published on July 16, 2020. This is an amazing article. Basically, the article discusses that glutathione is important in preventing inflammatory responses and cytokine storm triggered by COVID-19. And how can we increase glutathione level in patients It is by taking in acetylcysteine. Let's sum up those 5 articles. How does NAC help with COVID-19? Number 1, in combination with bromelain, it can inactivate SARS coronavirus 2. Number 2, it hampers penetration of SARS coronavirus 2 into cells. Therefore, the oral administration of NAC is likely to attenuate the risk of developing COVID-19. And number 3, it may suppress SARS coronavirus 2 replication. And number 4, in combination with other antiviral agents, NAC may dramatically reduce hospital admission rate, mechanical ventilation, and mortality. How much NAC to take? Usually it is recommended 1,000 to 1,200 milligrams a day in divided doses. A small percentage of NAC users may report headache, dizziness, nausea, abdominal pain, and dry mouth. Number 3 is curcumin. Curcumin is the active ingredient in the spice turmeric. It is a potent antioxidant with anti-inflammatory and anti-cancer activities. Turmeric can improve liver and brain functions. In here, we are going to review 4 studies about curcumin and COVID-19. This is the first article about curcumin. Curcumin as a potential treatment for COVID-19. This article has been published in the Frontiers in Pharmacology on May 7, 2021. I'm going to go to the abstract, and I have highlighted this section for you. In the abstract, you can read, it says, in this context, natural compounds such as curcumin have shown beneficial effects on the progression of inflammatory diseases due to its numerous action mechanisms: antiviral, anti-inflammatory, anticoagulant, antiplatelet, and cytoprotective. These and many other effects of curcumin make it a promising target in the adjuvant treatment of COVID-19. This is the second article. Phenolic compounds disrupt spike-mediated receptor binding and entry of SARS coronavirus 2 pseudovariants. This article has been published in the PLOS ONE on June 17, 2021. And in the abstract, I have highlighted this section for you. It says, here we provide experimental evidence that among 56 tested polyphenols, including plant extracts, Bromelain, TF3, and curcumin, displayed the highest binding with the receptor binding domain of spike protein, inhibiting viral attachment to the human ACE2 receptor and thus cellular entry of pseudotype SARS coronavirus 2 variants. This is the third article published in the Science Direct in July 2021. Will curcumin nanosystems be the next promising antiviral alternatives in COVID-19 treatment trials? And this is the highlights, and in the highlights, and you can read in here, it says curcumin blocks virus entry on cells via S protein and ACE2 receptor. And article number 4, curcumin, a wonder drug as a preventive measure for COVID-19 management. This article has been published on June 17, 2020. And I'm going to go to the conclusion of this article. I have highlighted for you. It says, in conclusion, we propose that curcumin could be used as a supportive therapy in the treatment of COVID-19 disease in any clinical settings to circumvent the lethal effects of SARS coronavirus type 2. Let's sum up those 4 articles. How does curcumin help with COVID-19? Number 1, it is a potent anti-inflammatory agent. Number 2, it has a cytoprotective effect. Number 3, it can inhibit binding and entry of SARS coronavirus 2. How much curcumin to take? Usually it is recommended 1000 to 1500 milligrams a day in divided doses. In terms of natural sources, curcumin comes from the spice turmeric. 1 gram of ground turmeric provides about 30 milligrams of curcumin. Number 4 is quercetin. Quercetin is a kind of flavonoid that has antioxidative, anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer, and antihistaminic activities. This is why quercetin is one of the best supplement ever for those people who suffer from different kinds of allergies. And also quercetin shows activities against HIV. In here, we are going to review 3 studies about quercetin and COVID-19. This is the first article about quercetin. Quercetin and vitamin C, an experimental synergistic therapy for the prevention and treatment of SARS coronavirus 2 related disease, COVID-19. This article has been published on the PubMed on June 19, 2020. In the abstract of this article, I have highlighted this section for you. It says we present the current evidence for the use of vitamin C and quercetin both for prophylaxis in high-risk populations and for the treatment of COVID-19 patients as an adjunct to promising pharmacological agents such as remdesivir or convalescent plasma. This is the second article, Anti-Inflammatory Potential of Quercetin for COVID-19 Treatment. This article has been published in the Journal of Inflammation on January 20th, 2021. In the abstract, I have highlighted this section for you. It says, quercetin as an anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, analgesic, and inflammatory compound is probably a potential treatment for severe inflammation and one of the main life-threatening conditions in patients with COVID-19. This is the third article, Quercetin, Antiviral Significance and Possible COVID-19 Integrative Consideration. This article has been published on December the 3rd, 2020. As you can see here, in the abstract, I have highlighted this section for you. It says, this review summarizes the antiviral significance of quercetin and proposes a possible strategy for the effective utilization of natural polyphenols in our daily diet for the prevention of viral infection. And this is the treatment protocol for COVID-19 for prevention and early outpatient from Frontline COVID-19 Critical Care Alliance in the USA. As you can see, quercetin in here for prevention protocol, and also in early outpatient protocol, you can see quercetin is a part of the treatment. Let's sum up those 3 articles. How does quercetin help with COVID-19? Number 1, it is a potent anti-inflammatory agent. Number 2, in combination with vitamins C and D3, it shows an antiviral activity. How much quercetin to take? Usually it is recommended 1000 to 1500 milligrams a day in divided doses. In terms of natural sources, the best food source of quercetin is onion. Usually 1 kg of onion provides about 300 milligrams of quercetin. If you are planning to take quercetin for any reasons, you have to be careful because quercetin has interactions with certain medications. As you can see on this slide, quercetin is contraindicated in people who take the antibiotics fluoroquinolones and the chemotherapeutic agent paclitaxel. And number 5 is melatonin. Melatonin is a naturally occurring hormone in the body. It is released from the pineal gland from the brain in response to darkness. Melatonin is famous as a sleep hormone. In here, we are going to review 3 published studies about melatonin and COVID-19. This is the first article about melatonin. COVID-19 melatonin as a potential adjuvant treatment. This article has been published on the PubMed on June 1st, 2020. In the abstract, I have highlighted this section for you. It says, melatonin, a well-known anti-inflammatory and antioxidative molecule, is protective against acute lung injury (ARDS) caused by viral and other pathogens. Melatonin is effective in critical care patients by reducing vessel permeability, anxiety, sedation use, and improving sleeping quality, which might also be beneficial for better clinical outcomes for COVID-19 patients. Notably, melatonin has a high safety profile. There is significant data showing that melatonin limits virus-related diseases and would also likely be beneficial in COVID-19 patients. This is the second article published on the PubMed on August 1st, 2020. Lungs as target of COVID-19 infection, protective common molecular mechanisms of vitamin D and melatonin as the new potential synergistic treatment. This is the abstract. Basically, this article discusses that a combination of melatonin and vitamin D can decrease the severity of COVID-19 and decreases the pulmonary complications of the disease. This is the third article, melatonin for the early treatment of COVID-19, a narrative review of current evidence and possible efficacy. This article has been published on June 10, 2021, and I'm going to go to the conclusions. It says, these conclusions provide evidence for potential benefits in melatonin use for COVID-19 treatment as early as the day of diagnosis. And this is the treatment protocol for COVID-19 for prevention and early treatment suggested by Frontline COVID-19 Critical Care Alliance from the US. And as you can see, that melatonin is here for prevention protocol, and also melatonin is here for early outpatient protocol. Let's sum up those three articles. How does melatonin help with COVID-19? Number one, it is a potent antioxidant with an anti-inflammatory activity. Number two, melatonin shows a protective effect against acute lung injury and acute respiratory distress syndrome caused by viral or other pathogens. Number three, in combination with vitamin D3, melatonin can decrease the severity of the illness and lung complications. How much melatonin to take? Usually it is recommended 6 to 10 milligrams bedtime. When you are taking melatonin, you have to be careful because melatonin may cause daytime drowsiness, dizziness, stomach upset, irritability, and nausea. I really hope that you learned something interesting today, because we make science easy to understand. Now you know. If you don't want to miss our next videos, you may subscribe to the NAcetylcysteine channel on YouTube. To support us, you can share, like, or comment on this video. Until next time, stay safe, stay connected.